Good morning, Biblionauts. Recently, David Novak made a video called The Perils of Social Media, in which he called my attention to another video that he was responding to, which was made by Anne Novella, and it was a very honest video about an addiction that he has identified that is shaping her life, an addiction for social media. I wonder how many of you could have the courage to make such an honest video, because I know for a fact that addiction to social media is a majority even in Booktube and even within higher age ranges. I don't think that wherever you go, whatever room you enter, you can be sure that 90% of people in that room is at least addicted to two things: social media and sugar. And they have something in common, which is that we continue to refuse to see them as drugs, which is what they are. They are drugs. I am not an anti-drugs person. I consider that for any drug, the dosage, the environment, and the habit are the key things to master in order to be able to consume any drugs. And I would apply this to sugar, to caffeine, to many other things that we don't normally consider drugs or talk about them or truly see them as drugs, even if we are willing to admit that they have certain addictive effects on us. But social media is worse than any of them, because unlike any other drug, social media is not stationary. It continues to adapt, to continue to persuade us, to give it more and more of our day. And our phones have become extensions of our own bodies. So it's not like some people cannot live without their phone. For instance, I move around a lot. I go to places I don't know a lot. And although I have a really good natural navigation capacity, I rely on Google Maps a lot. That's an app that just by itself has kept me for a long time not wanting to get rid of my phone. However, recently, a month ago or so, I decided that once I finish university, I'm gonna get rid of my phone. I'm gonna start making the videos through a camera and uploading them and moving like my WhatsApp to my computer. And whenever someone needs me, they will have to call me. I'll have a very old Nokia with no capacity, with no app store or anything like that. But how did it come to this? How did it come to the point where we have to renounce to pretty much our main link with the rest of society and nowadays of our main means to being up to date and everything, in order to actually be in control? I have a friend who has a locker, a hard box in the entrance of his house. And what he does is, whenever he comes through the door, he puts his phone inside the box, he locks the key, and he leaves the key outside of the house, under the entrance carpet. If that doesn't show you, like, that is not very different from another couple of friends of my father who are both addicted to heroin, and they have been for many years. And they what they do, because they have kids, what they do in order to maintain it in a way that doesn't disturb them, their kids, that doesn't disturb their lives, is that once every month or every 2 months, they will leave their kids with someone, sometimes my father, and they will go on a heroin retreat. This certainly keeps things under control, but still, it's not letting you be free. It only expands the extent to which you are willing to continue with the illusion that you are free from that addiction. I'm not comparing social media to heroin, but there is definitely a parallel to be drawn. I mean, I am comparing it to a degree. I'm not saying that it's the same thing. Of course, heroin is probably the worst drugs of them all. Nothing kills you more than that. But all drugs, to a degree, they all take the life out of you. And that's something that, for me, I love Anne Novella's video, because very rarely do I see someone so honest talking about this. Like, she is genuinely concerned about her losing her life, in the sense of, like, just letting it pass by and not doing the things that she wants to do in order to do, like, stuff that she won't even remember afterwards. And I have, I haven't been a phone social media person for 99% of my life because I had to, maybe not 99, but I had to have a phone. I mean, I was forced to buy my first phone. The first time I had a social media downloaded onto my phone was by a friend of mine who wanted me to have an Instagram. And I began to like Instagram. I think Instagram is a nice app. It works well because it allows both for text and image to sort of like be presented. So I began to basically make pictures and express myself through Instagram. You can go all the way to when I was like, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something like that. And I had an Instagram and I haven't deleted any pictures. So it's become a picture album. For a long time, I wanted to get rid of that Instagram, but I right now, the nostalgic effect of having so many pictures there that go back ages from now, like they just go back to like many lives before this present in which you've met me, makes it really hard for me to delete Instagram. And it's really the one app that in which I still find myself sometimes downloading it and losing a couple of days realizing what just happened, you know, and that I just lost 2 days basically on this app, and then deleting it again for like the next 3 months. YouTube, I don't see it this way, because YouTube, I mean, you know, everything, all weapons are also tools, all drugs are also medicines in some way. Like, as I said, the dosage is very relevant when it comes to this topic. But with YouTube, I see its potential as its positive potential much more than with others, because it has this very long format content in which you actually like interact with real people like in no other app. And also, I mean, before coming to university, I began studying on an academic level through YouTube. There are courses for like, I studied philosophy. But by the time I started my degree, like my undergraduate course in philosophy, I pretty much knew everything because I had done a full history of philosophy course in YouTube. That took me over a year, and in which I read more than all the reading lists that I've been assigned in these last 3 years in university. So I'm not I'm not willing. Of course, this is not a technophobe video, you know. And again, I said I'm not an anti-drug person in the first place. So I'm not. Although my choice is to get rid of my phone and therefore get rid of everything that comes with it, I'm not getting rid of YouTube and I'm not getting rid of Instagram. Because not because of the picture album, because I could always print all of those pictures, but because, as you know, I have a very nomadic life, and people tend to change their numbers. And basically, it's been my number one means of contacting people with whom I lost contact whenever I arrive back in their countries or hometowns. It's my only way of keeping in touch with the people that I leave behind as I move forward. So I can't get rid of Instagram, and I don't want to get rid of YouTube. I've received so much more than I've given to this app. So. Still, both of them in some way have saved my life. I don't think that at this moment I have a toxic relationship with either of them, but just the fact that every now and then I will find myself doing that I have to constantly be keeping myself in check to make sure that I don't lose my direction, or to make sure that, you know, it doesn't completely take over my life. Is enough. It just requires too much mental effort. It's a mental effort that I could be dedicating to something else. So I'm just rambling here. I didn't prepare this video or anything. I just wonder, like, how many of you have a problem like Ag Novela has? How many of you are just not willing to accept it? Which I am sure that at least a few have passed by Ag Novela's video already and very conveniently ignored her thoughts, because you don't want to accept that a certain part of your device has become a very significant part of your life. And that's fair enough, insofar as that is a choice of yours. But if you are just trying to ignore that fact, if you are letting it do its work on you without you actually being fully in control or fully aware of what's happening, then I think it calls for a reassessment of the whole thing. Not to mention that, you know, these devices, unlike any other drug that we consume on a daily basis or a monthly basis or a yearly basis, it has an intelligent design. It's as I said, it is ever changing. It adapts to all the mechanisms. You can try within the phone, within your device, to defend yourself from the device by buying certain apps that will make your phone less appealing to you, or that will block certain ads or things like that. But the device as a whole, its main interest, it's biased towards having a parasitic relationship with your life, of making you dependent of it. And that's because it's been designed by people who's trying to sell you something. They want you to be a consumer, etc., etc., etc. Which means that you cannot rely on it for your own emancipation from that device. And not only can you not rely on it, but the longer you wait, the more you will be saved by it. And by saved, I genuinely mean saved. Our brains, no matter what research says, no matter what age you have, your brain is plastic. There might be more or less plasticity to your brain depending on your age and how much you use it, but brains do change shape depending on what you do with them. They adapt to your habits, your behavior, your emotional and intellectual state. And what shapes your brain more than anything else is those things that are most common and that keep you more engaged. It doesn't matter, how much you want to learn something. If you don't enjoy it, if you are not engaged, you will not learn it in the same way. That's something that you are engaged with. And this thing is made to target that, to trigger all the different hormone spikes that will that will keep your brain engaged in the way in which it gets shaped to the desires or to the financial pursuits of the people who designed it. And it's not in your interest, because just like with every other drug, the first try is free for a reason. They're giving this to you. You're having access to all of these things because they're building a need for which they will ask a payment afterwards. Once it's become something that you cannot say no to. The longer you wait, the harder it will be to say no. I don't know exactly what I'm advocating for, other than just awareness. In my case, given my own circumstances and how many things in my life that you know nothing about require so much of me, I don't have the spare time to fight against this systematically over and over and over, which means that if I just keep my phone and I tell myself, self-control, just control yourself. You should have where's your will? What the fuck? If I do that, eventually I will one day find myself being weak, and then another day, and that will spiral into a month. And yes, I will come back from that, but every time that I come back, I'll come back with a little bit less of me. That's the way I view it. So I have to get rid of it. I was planning to make a video about this, which I will at the end of March. When I finish university is the moment that I will get rid of this phone, and I will find a phone that only receives calls, which means that my frequency of videos uploading and everything will be much less, at least for a few months or for the rest of the year, because I will be basically trying to hack my new life with like recording on a camera, uploading on the computer. Having the time to do that is more time consuming, but it's more freeing because you are using devices that are not with you every single minute. I don't, as much as I like many of you in BookTube, I don't want to be having you in my pocket all the time either. I need a certain hygiene that this device does not give. So that's my solution. And if you got here and Novella, I understand exactly what you're talking about, and I see it all the time, and I'm worried about even people in my family who, like my younger sister and friends as well, who are you can't tell that they are captured, because most people, the age range in BookTube, in this corner of BookTube, is much older than I am, right? And you are finding it hard. I am a millennial, which means that I still grew up on the analogic. I had an analogic infancy. I still had to walk to my friend's house and ring their bell in order to see if they would be available or not. I didn't text message them. But Gen Z and onwards, they have had a phone and social media from the very beginning. So I just wonder how much of their brains is already shaped, because also the younger we are, the more plastic our brains are, as I said, and the more malleable you are, the more you are left on the hands of these devices and the extremely elaborate techniques of attraction and control that are behind the engineering and the design of everything that you see through this screen. And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. I'm not saying that someone wants to control your brain or something like that. No, someone wants to sell you things. That's all. But selling you things means reducing you to the thing that buys, to the consumer, and reducing your logic, your brain, and everything to that as well. There are forms of thought, long, deep in the sense of in depth, relaxed thought that is incompatible with this format, with what this device provides and encourages. That's why reading is so hard. I found reading very hard when I started a few years ago, probably because of that, and it was shocking how hard. I thought I was smart, and then I thought I was retarded for a few years because I couldn't read a single page. It took me a long time to be able to read like one page and remember it on the first read. I would be rereading the same page over and over and over. And only very recently did I feel like I finally can read it and it comes natural to me. Before it felt like a very forced action. And I did not grow up with a phone. Everyone else grew up with a phone. This is a massive problem. This is probably the biggest problem other than climate change. For our minds, this is the biggest thing. So I think you ought, everyone here who has any thought about this, you ought to be talking about this, especially as a reader, because I think reading is really the last frontier against this kind of degradation of our intellects. So yeah, let me know what you think, but do please talk about this. Do please be honest, like Anne Novella was, and check both their videos. I'll link them in the description, David Novak's video and Anne Novella's video. Thank you, BookTube.